Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
I'm Mo Rocca, and I'm excited to announce Season 4 of my podcast, Mobituaries. I've got a whole new bunch of stories to share with you about the most fascinating people and things who are no longer with us. From famous figures who died on the very same day, to the things I wish would die, like buffets. All that and much more. Listen to Mobituaries with Mo Rocca wherever you get your podcasts.
Bernigan, 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 ABCs.
Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where, well, the odds are that you know what I was going to say anyways, so let's face it. We're all going to die anyway, so I might as well not even finish that sentence.
Yeah.
Well, joining me tonight for as long as we exist are Stefan and Heidi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
And hey, guys, that's an odd number.
Sure
We
is.
have an odd number of us tonight.
Well, some of us are more odd than others. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm definitely odd.
I proudly display that I'm odd. And tonight's song is odd as well because we might want to get talking about odds are. But if you've never heard this song before for some reason or another, here is a quick snippet.
By lightning sounds pretty frightening, but you know the chances are so small. Stuck by a bee sting, nothing but a bee thing. Better chance you're gonna buy it at the mall. But it's a 23 or 4 to 1 that you can fall in love by the end of this song. So get up, tell the bookie put a bet on not a damn thing will go wrong. The odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we gonna be alright. Odds are we gonna be alright tonight.
Ooh, I like those quick snippets.
And it's written by Ed and Kevin Griffin of Better Than Ezra. And of course, it is off the album Grinning Streak. Odds Are was a relatively successful song for them. They did pretty well on the charts. It was number 43 on the adult rock chart.
Wow.
Number 49 on the hot adult contemporary chart, and number 46 on the Canadian adult contemporary chart.
Wow.
Get dope, eh?
So it did pretty well.
They even made a video of it, so it's got to be that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was their big
Yeah, it
single
really
off
was.
this album, and I have to agree with the choice for this as the big single. I think this is the right one.
I agree. I think
odds are
that
you're right.
This song kind of was the most reminiscent of their pre-Steve leaving days. And I think this is where I really liked this song the minute I heard it. It reminded me a lot more of the traditional BNL sound. And I think that's one of the reasons why it was more successful post Steve Page. So
Yeah, I would say it has a very stunt / Maroon type sound to it.
it really does. It really does.
You said Maroon, like Maroon 5?
Well, they were a 5-piece back then.
Not as good as a 6-piece nugget, but
No, you were afraid of Maroon 5, huh?
I definitely would not maroon 5 of them.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're just being odd. You're not answering my question, but you're just being odd. Gotcha.
No, I would not maroon 5 of them. I'd be marooned with 5 of them. That'd be fine.
I would totally be marooned with 5 of them.
No.
I would be loving that.
I would, because I'd need somebody to eat.
Oh my gosh.
And there's 5 of them. So I wouldn't go hungry on a marooned island.
Oh man.
No. Oh
This
boy.
song also was a theme song.
'Twas a theme
Oh, yeah.
song.
It was a theme song for a TV show called Working the Angles. It was the first Canadian-American collaboration TV show. They did a collaboration between NBC to make this TV show that lasted one season. You can find it on Vimeo, on Daily Motion, but I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, so the trouble with Tracy this week isn't this week's song, it's this TV show that the song was connected to. Holy cow, it's a smoking, disgusting dumpster fire. It is horrible.
Wait, it's not still around? Wait.
It is like slow delivery. Like the actors aren't picking up on their lines to each other. Like when they're delivering a line, it's like pulling molasses out of the can. The writing is really dull and poor and cliche. And to match the show, they take this song, which is a really upbeat, poppy song, and you're like, okay, great theme song. Like, this would be a great theme song for a TV show. They slowed it down. They took the chorus and they slowed it down to half speed for the opener for the show. Like, why would you do that?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So basically the idea behind the show is that a guy owns a law firm and dies and leaves it to his family, and his family of miscreants take over the law firm because of the amount of debt he owes. And the lead daughter is the only one that's responsible out of all of them, and the rest of them have all these supposed personality flaws that they don't really even kind of go with and lean on. There's like no wit. So imagine Arrested Development, but with no wit, no intelligence, and no charisma.
So it's kind of like a bad version of Arrested Development.
Oh, horrible. Yeah, exactly. Take everything interesting out of Arrested Development and you have this show.
Weird.
I got through the first half of the episode of the second episode because the first one's not, the pilot episode's not even up. And I was like, I can't, this hurts to watch. My brain is leaking out of my head.
Kind of like me watching you do karaoke.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. So I've lambasted this enough. Why don't I hand it over to you, Heidi? Can you break the music of this wonderful song down for us?
Heidi's Breakdown.
It's the Heidi Breakdown. Ba-da-da-da.
Oh my gosh, wait, I love that.
So, odds are this is, I hate people that don't understand music, because if you look online, they give you the option of A sharp or B flat, but there is no such thing as A sharp. There is no key of A sharp. There's no key of A sharp. There is an A sharp note. But to make a long story short, this is in the key of B flat major. It is capoed on 3, but the original key is B flat major. It follows a fairly simple progression, though it does include a lot of chords which add like the 2nd degree of the scale or the 7th degree of the scale. We've got some sus chords, so Jeff is missing out because we know that Jeff really loves a good sus chord. So does Aaron, but they ain't here, yep. So whatever. So it starts on a 4, so it doesn't start on the tonic chord, the home chord. But the verses basically go 4, 1, 6, 7, 5, a variation of 5, 5, 4, 1, 6, 7. And that's the intro. And then it's struck by 4 chord to the 1 chord, to the 6, 7 chord, to the 5. Then it goes to 4 chord, then a 1 chord, 6 to 7 chord, then to 5, then a 4 chord, then a 1 chord, then a 6, 7, then a 5 to 5, then a 4 and a 1 and a 6 and 7 go to 5. And in the chorus, It goes from 4 to 1, 6, 7 to 5. And it basically goes through that. It's very repetitive through the whole song. And that's pretty much what it does. It does follow a fairly simple form. You've got verse, chorus, bridge. And even the bridge doesn't really change around too much. Then verse, chorus, repeat the chorus, and then a mini outro. It is 96 beats per minute. So it's pretty medium tempo. It's not too fast. The bridge does, let me just check my notes here. The bridge, where's my bridge?
Is it a walking bridge or can you drive over it?
You can drive over it. So the bridge is the only slight variation of the key, the chord progression change, which where sure things go wrong, that starts on a 2-7 chord, and then it goes 2-7 1 4 5. But I'll take my chances is 5 to 2-7 to 1 to 4 to 5, and then it just follows through that.
I would totally say that was a walking bridge. It's not driving, but it's definitely a walking bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much a walking bridge. And then it goes right back into the progression that I started with. So that's the basic breakdown. It's very straightforward. And it's very much traditional BNL. And that's what I really love about this song is it does take you back.
But it's jumping around those chords a lot.
Yeah, and Ed gets a chance to really explore. Again, he uses a lot of variations within the chord, so it's not just a 1 3 5, which is your traditional triad. Has the first degree of the scale, the third degree of the scale, and the fifth degree of the scale. He adds like a second into that chord, or a seventh degree, or he suspends the chord into the next. So there's a lot of music theory geeky stuff in here, but it's just fun, and I love to hear Ed just jamming out on guitar, on a very acoustic sounding guitar again. So,
and I think you used the right word. At least I agree with the word fun. It is a fun Ed song. I mean, I know Kevin Griffin had his pieces that he added into it, and it was a collaboration. But it really feels like an Ed song. And it is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, especially if you just tear out the words. I enjoy even the music of this song.
Very uplifting.
Yeah, it really is, Stefan. Very uplifting.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting. When they first wrote this song, it was originally an acoustic guitar-driven song. And then Gavin Brown started putting up the dance pop groove of it in there. And they were like, that's what we want it to be. And they usually won't try to match what it is today, but they just felt like it really worked with this song and kind of mixed it in there. And that's when they were like, that's what it needs to be.
And I think they made some very wise decisions.
Yeah, I still think something's a little bit missing. And, I've had this feeling for quite some time with the post-Stephen BNL. For some reason, I just feel like they need to bring in a female voice that can just go a little bit higher. Because Stephen's...
Are you saying there's a chance for me?
There is a chance. Absolutely. I think so.
Odds are I could do it.
Odds are that she could do it?
I think they need a female voice. I think that would round out the sound that they have and make it sound really good.
That's a really interesting point, Stephen. There's a band that probably nobody knows of, but they were they were known for only a couple of songs. They were called the Flirtations. I don't know if you're familiar with this group.
Nope.
The Flirtations did mostly a cappella music. They did all a cappella music in the early 90s. And they have one song called Everything Possible, which Tracy, you might know. You can be anybody that you want to be. You can love whomever you will. Do you know that song?
Mm-hmm.
And I love that song. Like, and they were only men. It was just a bunch of men. And they brought, after one of them left the group, they brought in a female voice, and I saw them perform with the female voice, and it really changed so much of the dynamic. And I don't know if it was the right decision. It was a very strange decision. But you know, we've not heard them perform with a woman except for Sarah McLachlan. I mean, on a music piece, right? Is there anything else they've done with a female?
Nope, that's the only one that I can think of, at least. Well, I mean,
Anne Murray
Ed has done a version of "Smile" with his daughter, and they did tour with Alanis, and so I know they did some live stuff, improvising with Alanis on that tour, and had her come out, and then they would come out on some of her songs. But in terms of recorded stuff, I can't think of anything other than the Sarah McLachlan song.
No, I was just wondering because Steve has quite a high voice when he's singing, doing stuff.
Well, so so does Kevin.
Maybe Kevin needs
but
to
Kevin
sing more.
Isn't that high. Kevin's not that high, powerful voice. Kevin is that high, wispy voice. And I think that what you're trying to say that is missing is that high, powerful voice that kind of Steve has.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I mean, you listen to a lot of songs from the '80s and whatnot. They always have like a powerful female belter in the background that really just adds a depth and a richness to the song that would otherwise be missing from a lead singer. I think Ed's a great singer, but I think he's still kind of a background singer. It's my opinion. You know?
I think that I'm going to disagree with you. I think Ed can definitely front songs, but it sounds better, especially when they hit the chorus, if you have Steve's voice hitting either the high melody or the low melody, because he was able to take either one. Whatever Ed wasn't taking, he would balance out Ed's voice on those choruses. And I think that he brought... There was a nasality and that was in Steven's voice that matched up with Ed's country twang that just really blended well. And for me, that's missing when we hit those choruses. I did like the Persuasions version somewhat because what was missing off this song that you were mentioning, Stefan, of that harmony that we don't get a ton of on this song. We get it a little bit, but once again, we don't get the depth. We get that off the Persuasions version.
Okay.
But at the same time, the instrumentals are more stripped down and it feels lesser because of it. And so for me, if I could have had a mixture of the Persuasions version of the harmonies mixed in with the instrumentality of the original album release, then it would have been like perfect for me.
Struck by lightning sounds pretty frightening, but you know the chances are so small. Struck by bee sting, nothing but a bee thing. Better chance you're gonna buy it at the mall. But it's 23 for 1 that you can fall in love by the end of this song. So get up, tell the bookie put a bet on not a damn thing will go wrong. Odds are that we will probably be alright. Odds are we gonna be alright. Odds are we gonna be alright tonight.
What do you think, Heidi?
I agree with you. I think Stefan's onto something. Like I understand where Stefan's coming from with that, but I think I don't know. It would be nice to hear them collaborate with a female voice. Like a real collaboration, not just, maybe not a full-time gig, but really interesting to hear how they could work and go to go another direction with a female voice. And there are some amazing Canadian singers, and they've toured with some amazing Canadian singers. Chantal Karevjak, I can never pronounce her name. I remember she opened for them, I think it was in Mass during one of their tours. Chantal Karevjak, I can't remember. It's hard to say the name. But it could be very interesting to hear how they might adapt.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my thought, but it's still, I do miss Steve. Like, I still miss Steve, but this is as close to BNL without Steve that I think we can get, or with, I know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Post Steven, like.
Yeah, it was a great song. I was surprised by the song as a whole. It's just, it's got that really hopeful message there, and the sound is kind of just me as an audience member. I believed it. I believed that everything was going to be all right. Odds are it's going to be all right. And, it's believable for me. I thought that was great. I really liked the song.
And I think that this song, unfortunately, suffers from the album that it's on. And by what I mean by that is, I would say there's 5 songs, maybe more, on this album. I could sit here and count right now. But there's a lot of songs on this album that have such a positive spin and such a positive message that this song in some ways gets weakened by all those other positive messages on this album.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm looking at the track listing again, and this isn't an album that I've listened to as many times, like, as I have Maroon, Stunt, Gordon, Maybe You Should Drive, Bopes, like, even Everything to Everyone. I've listened to all of those time and time and time again. And I admittedly have not listened on repeat to Fake Nudes, Grinning Streak, like and even I just put on the vinyl today of Tour de Force, because I think I was still hearkening back to the old BNL sound, and I haven't, like, I would get the new album and listen to it on repeat and memorize all of the lyrics and listen and listen and listen. And now I'm looking at the Grinning Streak track list. I'm like, yeah, okay, I remember Boomerang, like, I could sing Boomerang, Gonna Walk, Keeping It Real. I've never been a fan of that one overall. But odds are, you're right. I think it could be more of a standout, but it's not so bad to have a really positive album, especially after the post breakup album of Everything Is, I Tried and Steven Left, and I like all of the Steven songs.
Well, and they make an odd choice with this song. Usually your lead single off an album, you don't put it number 5 on the album track. Usually
should
it's
have been
your
the
3
first
or 4.
one. I think it's better choice than Limits.
The first one. Oh yeah. I mean, I get why they started with Limits, because it has that interesting intro that's gonna catch, but to put your lead single at number 5, like, you're almost halfway through your album at that point, and you haven't even hit your lead single yet. And you just had Gonna Walk just beforehand, which is also a very poppy, upbeat number. To lead into your single, it doesn't make that single stand out.
I agree with that. I'm just trying to think of, it's funny because this is one of those weird albums, and looking at the difference in the discography with All in Good Time, the first album post Steve, to Grinning Streak, which was more upbeat and more like the old sound they were getting it back. I know people don't have a big love for Silverball in general, but I really kind of like that album. Fake Nudes for me took a drop. Like it kind of, Maybe that's because now they're really experimenting more and more with Kevin and Jim's writing. And so you're hearing a lot more of Kevin and Jim's work, and it's not necessarily Bare Naked Ladies sounding as much. And that could be why I often think Fake Nudes came before Grinning Streak, but it didn't. It's much later. So
yeah.
And De Tour de Force is very different. Like it's a very different album. I mean, it's
we'll get to that much later, but it is I would say the most disjointed album they have ever
and
created.
I mean, Flip, at first you're like, that first song on that album, and we'll get to that later, but it's like, oh, that's very much like Odds Are. Like, it's a great opening number, and it's first on the album. But then you think of like Internal Dynamo, where Tyler gets to come into play, and it reminds me of like not BNL at all. So,
well, no, and a lot of the Jim and Kevin songs don't sound BNL-ish, and so you almost have this it almost sounds like you have a Brothers Cregan / BNL / Talk Don't Dance and Kevin Hearn Thin Buckle album rather than a BNL album.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, this song on Grinning Streak is wonderful. And I think it should have opened the album.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Or I think, and we'll reorder them later on the way we want. I would have put this right after Boomerang.
Yeah.
I feel like this Boomerang would have given that really like, okay, this is a different song and really kind of banged you into it.
I agree with that.
But yeah, sometimes I disagree with their ordering on albums.
Makes me wonder if they're the ones that put things in order. They might have a whole team to do that.
Well, they're reattached to a record company at this point, so I would say that it was the record company that ordered the album.
I would imagine so.
So, let's talk about the lyrics, because we have a lot to talk about with this song on a lot of different levels, but let's talk about the lyrical parts of this song. The basic message of this song, and we'll see if anyone disagrees with me, is basically this: it's statistically unlikely that these negative, bad things are going to happen in your life, so don't focus on the dangers. Just live life for now, love, and kind of enjoy life is what I get out of this song.
I agree. Sorry. Go ahead, Stefan.
No. I just said, that's all I got. Go ahead, Heidi. I'm sorry.
No, I think you're right. I think it's like, it's one of those, a lot of stuff could happen to you, but if you don't live in the present and live in the now, carpe diem, bitches, it's like, you got to get up and just kind of go with it, because if you're always worried about what's going to happen, then you're not living any kind of a life. It's like, there are so many things, but the odds are so small. Like the idea of the odds, and whether it's getting eaten by a shark in a Sharknado, like that's not going to happen. Thank goodness. But if you continuously go through life going, oh, well, I can't leave my house because I could get in a car accident, or I could get, a disease, or I could get murdered at a McDonald's, or I could, get struck by lightning while I'm playing golf. So I'm just going to stay in my little house and not worry about going outside ever. And it kind of also is about over dramatic people, like too, like struck by a bee sting. It's nothing but a bee thing. Like, it's not that big of a deal for most people, unless you're allergic, and in which case it's a big deal. But some people are like, oh my gosh, I got stung by a bee. And their whole day is ruined. It's like, well, yeah, you put some stuff on it and you check it, make sure it's not going to get worse and you're not allergic. If you are, take some Benadryl, call the doctor, and get your EpiPen. But I mean, we put so much, like, all in all, it's going to be okay. My college students are always in a crisis right now. Always. There's always a crisis. And it's worse. Like everything is. Well, I'm like, you will get done. And if you get your work done, then you will graduate and you will go on. And guess what? Like they just are so much living in the now that they can't see the forward. And I don't think I was like that when I was younger. Maybe I was, but I'd like to think I wasn't that over dramatic all the time that, oh, the world could end. And it's kind of timely now too, where golly, COVID and now Omicron variant. And now what's going to be next? The next variant that can kill us all. And okay, so if we don't, all right, so if we, shut down our whole lives again, are we ever going to get back to any degree of normalcy? Because the odds are most of us are going to be okay.
Yeah. I would agree. I've got a friend that's, really restricts what they do in life because they're afraid of, getting kidnapped or murdered or abducted or,
fuck you, course. Stefan. Fuck you.
Thanks. Now you have to censor out everything I said. Awesome. Great.
No.
I can understand a point of view that women have on the world, and it's legitimate fears that are there. But I mean, it doesn't help that person listens to. Sorry, guys, there's like a truck going by. It doesn't help that person is constantly listening to like numerous murder podcasts. So they're like always fearful of everything. It's like, well, yeah, it's like it's like somebody who works in the morgue going, God, all I see is dead people. Like we have the worst, everybody's dying.
It's called job security if you work in the morgue.
You work in the morgue. Like, where else are
people are dying to see you.
You're just dying to get in there.
So,
but Stefan, honestly, like you're absolutely right. And I was, we've seen a lot of tragedy, especially in the last few weeks, and the horrifying tragedy in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And that doesn't mean we're no longer going. That was where the person drove through the parade in Waukesha and killed, 5 people, including an 8-year-old boy, ran over band members of a marching band, ran over this group of elderly women that were in a group called the Dancing Grannies. It was horrifying. And as a marching band director, I was petrified. But that doesn't mean that we stop having parades. That doesn't mean that, there will always be these things that happen that are horrifyingly tragic events. Mm-hmm. There will be school shootings, like there was just last week, again, with that horrible school shooting. And I've taught through so many of those, and not a day goes by where I don't know in a second exactly what I would do, what my protocol is, and where I would take a bullet for a kid, which is a scary thing if you're in education, as Tracy, I'm sure, can agree. Yep. But it doesn't mean we're going to stop going to school. It doesn't mean, because those odds are still very small.
Yeah, we just have to work on mental health of people.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We have to be prepared. We have to do what we can to help people and to help heal people. But what we can't do is focus on it 24/7, every single second of our lives, and let that drain joy out of our lives.
Right.
So we have to live in the moment, but just be prepared and have backup plans to protect us and live for now at the same time and help our kids and families to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, there are going to be times when you absolutely hate life. Like, for instance, today when I was at work, I ended up slipping on ice and I was staring up into the night sky, from my back going, God, I hate my job sometimes. But I mean, it's like,
you
doesn't mean that I'm
okay?
going to. Oh yeah, yeah, I'm fine. I
Oh
felt
yeah.
it hurts, but
I fell on a package. It's crushed.
Yeah,
It's
it
fine.
makes you want to throw things around sometimes. But I mean, nothing to the extreme where you want to harm or hurt other people. So, but yeah, the odds are very slim that something like that will happen, and it shouldn't be a reason to not live life to its fullest. The only thing that is guaranteed in our lives is the end of it. So what are we going to do with what we've got?
Yep.
Well, and that's like the first verse where he talks about, struck by lightning sounds pretty frightening, but the chances are so small. Stuck by a bee sting, nothing but a bee thing. Better chance you're gonna buy it at the mall. So there's a better chance that you're gonna die while shopping at the mall than you are getting struck by lightning. And that could just mean you died of a heart attack or natural causes, or who gosh knows, you slipped down the escalator.
Right. By the way, that is like the one line in this song that I hate. Nothing but a bee thing. Ed, you can write better than that.
Yeah. I mean, he could have.
You are more capable. You could have filled that line.
It's nothing but a G string,
Oh, nope, better than that. We could have done better than that.
Well, and then
what?
Tracy and I both, Stefan, we found this engineering podcast or engineering blog where
Engineering.
And he talks about these lyrics and the stats behind them. So how many people on average are struck by lightning in a year or stung by bee stings in a year? And so it's like
minuscule, really.
It's minuscule. Did you know that deaths by bee stings are about 70% more common than death by lightning? 0.00019% a year.
No kidding. Wow, yeah. I didn't know that.
And did you know that bee stings are apparently safe enough that the average human can handle 10 stings per pound of body weight?
Huh.
Unless you're deathly allergic.
No kidding.
It's better to get stung by a bee than go shopping on Black Friday. So there you go.
Yeah, it's safer. It's safer. Most definitely.
He does not get the 25 or he doesn't get the 23 or 4 to 1 line though. He doesn't understand that line. And I got to say, I think that line, and you guys tell me if I'm nuts, I think that's a nod to Chicago. I think that's a 25 or 6 to 4 line.
One of the best marching band songs ever that I use with my pet band. I love that ride. Oh, so good. Should I try to do some more? 25 or 6 to 4.
Isn't Chicago one of the oldest running bands in American history to date?
They've been around for a while.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I saw them live when I was, in high school. It was, I think, 88 or 89 in Manchester. They opened for the Beach Boys. They were pretty awesome.
Really? They opened for the Beach Boys? I would love to see that.
Oh my gosh. And this is the funniest story too, Stefan. So it was at Riverfront Park. Riverfront Park, right down on the river in Manch, in the Mill District. And so it's pouring rain through Chicago's entire set. I kid you not. Pouring rain. All of a sudden, Beach Boys take the stage, and just as they start their set, the sun came out, and I cannot even, I couldn't make that up if I tried. It was it was so awesome. Crazy.
So did you take your van down by the river to watch the concert? That's all I got.
So I think that's what that line is. I think he awesome. So when he says 23 or 4, like 23 or 24 to 1 odds.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. 23 or 4. 23 or 24 to 1.
Right, but I just love that reference. I'm like, that's a Chicago reference. Oh my god!
I don't get it, but that's fine. I like Chicago. I was a big fan of Peter Cetera, and some of my favorite songs are by him. But
I'm a big fan of old school Chicago. Like I still have the old four album vinyl set. Saturday in the Park, like they had one of the best horn lines ever. Okay, so then
I have to say my favorite line of the song is "I guess they ain't a way to go." That's fun.
I guess not. Hit by the A train. I don't want to take the A train. Much gets hit by the A train, or crash an airplane. I wouldn't recommend either one. Killed by a great white or a meteorite. I love the way he emphasizes meteorite, so it fits the syllables of the thing. Or a meteorite instead of meteorite. I guess there ain't no way to go. That's fun. Nope.
So the A Train, is he referring to The Boys, the TV show? Remember how somebody was hit by the A Train?
Oh yeah, that's right. No, that show came out after this album though, I think. Oh. But oh my gosh. In 2011, 146 New Yorkers were hit by a subway.
How is that possible?
Not a sandwich either, with 47 of them dying. So your odds in New York City of subwaying to death are 0.00057%, about 51 times higher than getting hit by lightning.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that article.
And apparently your chances of dying in an airplane crash are the same percentage as of dying by bees.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up on a lobster boat.
Wow.
And commercial fishing is known to be, I think, if not, it's one of the top most dangerous professions in America, if not the most dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Per 100,000 people.
Ever watch the Alaskan Crab Show? Like that,
yeah,
those people are crazy.
Nuts. I mean, fishing off of George's Bank is equivalent to that. So when you're on the boat, huh?
So Ed had already
on a roll.
But I mean, when you're on the boat and like waves are crashing over the bow of the boat, and it's just complete insanity. It's like you don't think about the odds. You don't think about any of this stuff. You're in the moment, and you don't put any of that energy into, oh my, we could die. Yeah, you don't want to even start thinking that way.
So I mean, Ed had already done the TV show Ed's Up by this point. He knew about how hard it is to be a deep sea fisher. Like that should have been the line said of nothing but a bee thing. He should have said, or died while you're out fishing. Like that would have worked. That would have fit in.
That wouldn't have rhymed.
Oh, he could have made it rhyme. He made meteorite.
He made meteorite.
Dying by a G-string is probably better. Even though, like, I'm thinking somebody's probably done that.
Oh, he meant a G-string on the guitar, right? It snapped.
Oh yeah. Actually, I'm not kidding you. That could take your eye out. Whenever because I taught high school guitar class for many, many years, and I always did a day where we changed strings. Like I taught them how to change and redo their own strings, the classical strings, and taught them very carefully that if you don't hold down your strings and detune and loosen them, then that sucker, if that is too tight or it pops off, it's going to take an eye out. So you need to wear safety glasses or make sure you're not looking right down because those strings will pop off. So I'll bet you a G-string could do some damage. A guitar G-string. Now, granted,
the other G-string could do some damage.
A G-string could also do some damage too. Yep.
Absolutely. I've seen some people in G-strings, and that's done some damage to me on a psychological level.
Being a child that was born in 1974, though, I've got to say that I was born the year Jaws came out, and I remember seeing that at the drive-in when I was like a baby. Like I remember in the back of the station wagon looking over when Jaws came on. So I have had a lifelong fear of shark attacks because of Jaws.
No kidding.
But the shark attack thing, those are not very common at all.
Especially in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
what's interesting is
we do have a lot. We have a large coastline in New Hampshire, It's a long. We have a 100-mile coastline? No, not 100-mile.
Up here in Maine, we've actually had a great white problem for the past couple summers. We've had great whites.
Really?
Yeah, we've had a couple of people getting bitten by great whites up here.
Yep, especially in Wells.
Which is very rare.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about my hometown here in Harpswell.
That's true.
Yeah,
yep.
We tagged them and we've been following them around in the summertime. So crazy.
Speaking of crazy,
how about werewolves? Do people get killed by werewolves? Because I'm definitely afraid of them.
What are the chances of dying by werewolf? I don't know that one.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, man, but I don't hang out at night very long.
So talking about crazy, we should talk about the video. Like this video is off the wall.
I love the video. I really love the video.
I would dare to say,
holy crap, you're way up there. Like, I'm looking where's Harpswell, Maine? Because my husband is from Maine, but he's from down like towards the Biddeford area.
He's way south.
Oh,
yeah, he went to Massabesic High School.
Portsmouth.
He went to Massabesic High School. So, but
ironically, Waterboro is not near the water.
No, but his parents had a house on the lake, on Little Lake Ossipee. But Harpswell is like, you are way out there.
Yeah,
dude.
Sharks should not be up there.
Holy cow.
It's gorgeous up here, though. I mean,
it's like a peninsula. You live on a peninsula.
I actually live on an island, so
that's
because I can see it's kind of like an island.
Yeah. There's an island side, and then there's a peninsula side. So I'm on the island side.
You are.
But Tracy's from way further up. He's from up by Banga.
Banga. I didn't even know
Banga. Oh.
You can't screw and brew across the bridge to Banga.
Oh my goodness gracious! Great balls of fire.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this video.
Go up the road to easy. Nice and sleazy. What?
Oh my God.
What's that? The video.
Yeah, yes. Let's talk about the video, which is amazing. I would dare say that this is the best BNL video ever.
Oh, I would agree.
It's the only one I've seen. So yes, I would agree.
Like Rooster Teeth really knocked it out of the park with this. This is before Rooster Teeth did Laser Team, by the way. So, like, there are pieces of this video where I'm like, oh, that they took that and wrote that for Laser Team. So, but there are. I want to go through this because I took copious amounts of notes on this video. I love this video.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
Well, first of all, I love the fact that it is a major statement about the way that news media like gets to us and tells us, and at this time, like, overwhelms people with the amount of information in a short period of time. I'm not kidding you. If I were to write down just the ticker tape that runs on the bottom of the screen, I would have taken up 3 pages of document. It goes on and on and on, and throughout the whole thing, it is constantly moving. The ticker tape is different than the headlines, which is different than the bylines that are on the bottom, which is different than what they're saying and showing in the video. And you also can notice the timeline of down in the corner changes. The temperature is constantly changing. The background graphics are constantly changing. This video, I took an hour of breaking this video down, and I bet there are still things I missed.
No kidding. I noticed it was quite chaotic. Things were all over the place.
Which goes with the point of the video.
Oh, absolutely.
First of all, I will say this about the video. Ed and Tyler do amazing acting during this video. Like they are doing the roles of news anchors really, really well.
So good.
Like it's hard to take your eyes off them because they are just having a great time, but they're playing those really corny newscasters, which is wonderful.
I think they're quite natural at it.
President calls top bunk. I love that line.
So I want to go through some of my favorites of those ticker tapes here. This is the only meteor event that is worse. Only meteor event worse than this was the 1998 film Armageddon.
Armageddon, right. Religious leaders around the world, we so called this.
Yep. And then that's followed
Vatican, up. Pray, pray, pray.
Atheists, run, run, run.
Run, run, run. Agnostics, we're not entirely sure how to feel.
That is one of my favorites. And then odds are that we'll probably be all right, says an uneducated man on the street. Rest correctly assumes mass extinction.
I forgot how many funny things there are. And you have to slow down. Good night, sweetheart.
Oh, you have to literally stop it every 3 seconds to get what is going across the bottom of the screen. Nuclear attack imminent. When did Canada get nukes? Is in parentheses.
Did they not see the film Canadian Bacon?
Well, exactly. Right.
Still one of the funniest movies ever.
Rise in Zombies Rising. Zombie attacks. Oh, okay. This is how it finishes. This is my favorite one. Zombies are now attacking the news crew. My God, they're outside my office. The horror, the horror. Why am I still typing this? Ah, they are eating my face. Ah! At that point, I had to stop and I was laughing too hard. I'm like,
Sports. New York announces 100% of roster disabled and or deceased. Playoffs rescheduled after stadium incinerated by UFO.
And then the next
top score is Kronog 7 humans dead.
Which they take from Laser Team. That's funny. Because the finish of Laser Team, which has the BNL song, the Laser Team made by Rooster Teeth, has them finish. The last scene is done in a stadium, a football stadium, where they have their final penultimate meeting with the aliens. So I'm like, oh, that is just perfect.
I love Jim in a pinstripe suit talking about money as well.
Oh.
Stock market crash kills 49. Experts say half of those deaths could have been prevented with seatbelts.
It's hilarious.
Zombie Jim is excellent. I love Zombie Jim. Zombie Kev. I love Zombie Kev.
Yeah, I love that the weather report that Kevin's giving has Tuesday 109 degrees, Wednesday 129 degrees, 79% dinosaurs.
So if you watch the temperature at the bottom of the screen throughout the whole time, it is steadily rising. It starts at 70 degrees. At the end of the broadcast, it's 117 degrees, and the time goes from 6:03 to 6:66.
Oh my God!
They spared no amount of detail on this video.
That's funny. They're like, hey, we don't have anything else to do.
They're
so good.
The byline below the female reporter says that there's going to be a meteor strike. And as soon as the meteor hits the building in the background, it says that the meteors are striking Earth. Immediately.
Oh, that's funny.
And then underneath it, it says, unlucky field reporter likely to be killed while covering story. The amount of humor in this film, in this video.
I'm surprised they didn't do meteor strike, want more pay from work.
And then, of course, they threw a Chicken Little reference in there.
Of course.
The sky is literally falling, literally. I'm like, oh, man, they're throwing like all their movies in here.
That's funny.
Stay tuned for live Undead coverage. The amount of detail just amazed me. By the way, on the weather map, Augusta, Maine. They have Augusta,
really?
Maine on the national weather map. It's 120 degrees.
Wow, that's impressive. I don't think it's ever gotten that hot in Augusta.
Oh, there's a spot when they flip over to Ty. So, of course, during this whole video, Ty and Ed are singing the lyrics to this song. There is this great moment when they go over to Ty, who's supposed to be doing his part of the lines, and he's looking at the wrong camera, and then he turns and looks to the right one. And it's just like, oh, that is so a newscaster thing to do. Like, that is amazing.
That is
funny.
Yeah.
That'd be funny if the other camera came on just as he switched over cameras. That'd be funny. I think that's like an Anchorman thing.
There's this great interaction when they're doing the second verse, and it's Ty's turn to report, and Ed jumps in with, I wouldn't recommend either one, but it's this great natural moment, and then Ty goes back to reporting other fatalities that are going on, and Ed just jumps in, I guess there ain't a way to go that's fun. And it's so natural. It's like banter. It's just amazing.
And again, it's very much like their older stuff. Like it's so fun, it's light, it's hilarious. And it just adds to those degrees of like, and also the use of media that just takes everything to the 100th level. Like it's, one thing that they can drag out for a week. Like, get your bread and milk, everybody, because we're going to get, bread and milk.
Yeah,
and then we end up getting
that would be like the hot item with COVID, but no, it was toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Get out there and get your toilet paper. I mean, and you think about
it was a premonition of how this was going to go.
And
kind of crappy.
But it does get you concerned, like if there was ever something really, like if an asteroid or a meteor or something was gonna hit us, they're not gonna tell us. They're just gonna, like, at some point it's just gonna be like,
yeah,
you're done. It's too late. Like, they're not gonna say anything.
Yep.
There are two other versions of this that I also want to make sure we talk about, which we can cover very quickly. The selfie cam jam,
terrible.
Which is
it's so bad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Nope.
Kevin, Ed, Jim, Tyler, don't hate me because I don't like the selfie cam jam. There's something wrong with it.
This is one of the few times I didn't like the selfie cam jam, and I don't know if it's because it was so early in the process of them doing it that they couldn't get the audio to line up, but it just doesn't sound good. The notes aren't lining up.
Like there's something weird with it, and I can't quite figure it out. It's like it just didn't line up right.
I'll take you guys' opinions on that because I haven't seen or heard the other versions. I've only seen the video with the song.
And then the other version isn't really a version. It's another video. I wish they hadn't done it because I'm not a big lyrics video person where they just show the lyrics popping on and off the screen. And that's what the second one is. Well, it was actually their first one, and I think they filled it. They did that until they could release the video, the full video. But I just don't like lyric videos. The only lyric video I think I've ever liked was Weird Al's Word Crimes, and it was just because it was such a play on it, and they did such a great job with doing a different version of a lyrics video. What do you think, Heidi?
Yeah, I agree. I really, the lyric video was okay, but I like the other video better. Like, I don't know. I don't see a need for it.
Yeah, it was weird that they would double up and do.
Yeah, it was the same
two
song.
videos.
Why would you do that when you have such a brilliant video anyway? Like, that doesn't. Is it? I mean, it's not like it goes so fast. It's not like he's rapping the song, so you can't understand what they're saying. So I don't understand why they needed that. But oh well.
That was the other thing about.
I'd rather have that than this other
yeah. That was the other thing about the Persuasions version, is it felt slowed down.
It was slightly slowed down, and the Persuasions, they did add to the chorus, so I won't, and they had the little intro, so it was slightly different, but it was pretty much the same song with just a little bit more depth in the chorus, so.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, why don't we get to some ratings here? Why don't we put some numbers to our words?
What are we going to do? How many apocalypses? How many?
Meteor.
Ooh, I like that. But what would be the plural of apocalypse?
Apocali? Alpacali? Alpacas? Wait. Alpacas? How many alpacas? Alpacalypses? Isn't that the title of a Weird Al album? Alpaca? Yeah.
It is.
Oh, and yeah. Lamageddon and Alpacalypse. Oh, yeah.
That's pretty funny.
And of course, now I can't spell apocalypse.
Alpacali? Apocalypses? Alpac? Is that like Tupac's younger brother? Hashtag too soon. Hold on. I need to look up what's the plural of apocalypse. Apocalypse. Plural of apocalypse is there a plural form of
there should only ever be one.
It is simply apocalypses. Apocalypses.
So if we ever have more than just one destruction,
we have multi-apocalypses.
Then it would
apocalypses.
So
how many apocalypses do you give this song, Heidi?
I love this song. So I think it's fun. I love the video. I think it adds so much to it. But this was a song that kind of brought me back to Stunt and Maroon days. And so it was just so nice to see them get with the energy of camaraderie again in this song. And I think that you can feel that. Like, if this were in the Naked days, this would be the Naked track. I think it would have been the Naked track. But I'm going to give this is a 5 for me. I love this song.
Wow.
I think it's just one of those songs that I feel like a Muppet again when I'm just driving along, and I love singing this song. It sticks in my head, and I love that, odds are it's going to be all right. And I like the message of the song, and it's a 5 for me. Yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't have guessed that from you. It's pretty good.
Wait a minute. Why wouldn't you have guessed that from me?
Well, based on what you were saying throughout the podcast, I didn't think it would rank as a 5.
Oh, yeah. It's a 5 for me.
That's awesome. It's a 5er.
It's a 5er. Did I get a 5er in there? High 5.
Stefan, what would you give it?
A great song as well. The only thing that I thought of is like maybe if there was like a female voice in there somewhere, I think it might have rounded things out. But other than that, I think it's great. I don't think it's a 5 in my book, but it's up there, most definitely. So let's give some Heidi some cred, and not shame her too much. I'm going to say it's going to be a 4.75. That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good.
That's a winner.
Yeah, that's a winner. It's got a great beat to it. It's got a great message to it. Yeah, it sounds good, and I think they did really, really well with it.
All right. And I'm going to be pretty much on the same level with you guys. This was one of my kids' favorite songs. It is literally, it will always have a very special place in my heart because it is literally the first song that they ever and repeatedly asked for by name. Now, granted, they thought the name was Struck by Lightning, but every time they would get in the car, they'd be like, Daddy, can we play Struck by Lightning? Put Struck by Lightning on. And they were only 3 years old and 5 years old. Like they love this song. Matter of fact, when we played it today and I told them I was recording tonight, they're like, oh my gosh, Daddy, I remember playing that when I was 5 years old and I was in the car and we loved that song. So like it hit perfectly. Like it made people happy. And I think they were right to make this their single. I really love this song. I'm going to give it a 4.5.
That's
It'd
not
be
bad.
great to have your kids come on and give a viewpoint, and give their ratings. That'd be great.
I don't know. They do it on. They did it on the kids' songs, and they're kind of inching their way.
As an
away from
academic, I would be remiss if I don't mention Michael Ross and our use of his blog, Extreme Engine Nerding.
Thank you.
This post was way back from 2013. So Michael Ross, if you're out there, we'd love to talk to you. Come on the show. But in summary, just so you know, Stefan, odds of you dying by any cause mentioned in the song this year, 0.0006%. Odds of everyone being all right for another night, 99.9998%. Unless you live in Detroit, apparently, or Chicago. Or New York City.
Unless you live in Detroit.
But, yeah.
Watch out for the subways.
I need to see if Michael Ross is on the Bare Naked Ladies fan page because he does claim to be a fan. So I'm like, hey, we used you this week. But I was pretty impressed with that. So I'm glad we found that. So shout out to Michael Ross and Extreme Engine Nerding.
Send him a PM. Say, hey, check this out.
And that will be actually in our notes for this week. The other appearances that I'm going to put in are Ed and Kevin sharing their recording of the vocals for this song, which they did when they were doing the Grinning Streak album. And I'm throwing an extra one in just because I really, really loved this thing that came out in the last week. So in the last week, Ryan Reynolds... who is a big fan and big friend of BNL and Stephen Page particularly, got the Governor's General Award in Canada. And Canada actually asked Stephen Page to write a song to commemorate Ryan Reynolds. And he wrote the song "Canada Loves You Back."
So amazing!
It is the most Stephen Page song, so amazing, and it is beautiful. And watching Ryan Reynolds react to this song was just amazing. Like he's crying while watching it and loving every second.
Where can I find that Stephen Page song? Is it on YouTube?
It is on YouTube, and actually, if you go on Bandcamp, he has released it on Bandcamp as well for donations to one of Ryan's causes. And if you do it on a Friday, all the money goes to that cause.
I don't even know what Bandcamp is.
It's a wonderful page which releases a lot of different artists, especially ones that aren't that don't have an album label to release their music on. For example, Jeff has all of his music on there. And matter of fact, Jeff's Kickstarter actually just finished. And for those of you who didn't buy in, he did actually hit his mark.
I did. I did. We're gonna Twitter feed my favorite movie. That's right.
Woohoo!
I would have contributed, but I don't know.
His album will be out.
And I'm gonna be on his next song, so I'm pretty stoked.
That's pretty great. His new album will be out early next year. We'll let you know when it comes out. We've already heard some of the early songs. They're great. Right now he's actually editing and cleaning things up, which is why he's not here. But, with all of it going on, I bet right now he's just really off his head.
Oh, is that the next song?
I saw that.
I let up. That was like a 5-mile jaunt to get to that.
Wow, that was a long, slow burn. And it's off the same,
like, where
same
is he
album,
going with
too.
this? Are we done with the podcast? Is he just chatting now, or what?
Well, and the next song has the spot on the album that I thought this one should take.
Third?
I don't know how next week's song got the number 3 spot on this album. To give a little bit of a highlight of how I feel about next week's song.
Nice.
But I definitely think that it was wrong to put Off His Head on the number 3 spot on this album.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is off the same album. But don't tell Aaron that.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I'll keep it.
That was one of the first things I was going to do. Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron, guess what?
That song is off of this album. Nah. Hey,
guys, thank you so much for joining us. What did you have to say, Aaron? Stefan?
I think the cadence is at 6-4 ratio and numbers, music stuff, jargon, music, numbers. So that's my Aaron impersonation. But anyways, my question was...
Wait, you've got to add this. They might be giants.
Yeah, they might be giants. My question was...
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets. Except maybe